What is up, YouTube? It's your girl Evelyn, and today I'll be diving into even more lesbian short films. And if you haven't checked out my first lesbian short films video, you can watch it here. So sit back, enjoy the video, and make sure to let me know which lesbian short film is your favorite.
Baby, you can show me how to love.
Heart Shot is a 19-minute short about what happens when you forget to run a background check on the person you're dating.
That's a bit cynical.
I mean, it's about two teenagers in love.
Hey. Hey. I love when you wear this jacket. Thanks. I like your whole outfit. Thanks.
Good girl Sam and bad girl Nikki are in love, and most of Heart Shot is just the two of them giggling and making googly eyes at each other. But then, something happens. I won't spoil the twist if you haven't watched it yet, but let's just say a creative risk was taken.
I choose violence.
Heart Shot kind of reminds me of Riot Girls in the sense that both films straddle two genres that probably shouldn't be straddled. And even though I did like Heart Shot, I just couldn't take it completely seriously. But I think it's definitely still worth a watch, and you can currently stream it on Netflix. Between Me and You is a compilation of 5 lady-loving lady short films put together by Film Do. I'll be honest, I thought this movie was gonna be hot garbage. And yes, a couple of the shorts are hot garbage, but a few of them are really good. The compilation starts with Bachelorette Party, my least favorite of all the shorts. It's about an engaged woman who leaves her own bachelorette party to go a hot French escort, which sounds like it should be sexy, or at the very least angsty, but it's not. In fact, it's more like a mediocre Wattpad original. The next film is Porque No, or as I like to call it, We F*** but no homo. Porque No is easily my favorite short in the compilation, and it's about two totally heterosexual friends who are on their way to a wedding. They're singing along to the radio and, of course, talking about boys, but turns out there might be more going on than meets the eye. I thought Porque No was cute, charming, sexy, and even a little heartbreaking. The next film in the compilation is a documentary called Polylove, and if you've ever watched one of those truly documentaries on YouTube, that's essentially what this is. It's an intimate look at one family's journey into polyamory, the good, the bad, and the mundane. The documentary, just like polyamory, might not be for everyone, but I thought it was fascinating, and I like that they didn't sugarcoat how difficult being in a polyamorous relationship can be. Of all the films in the compilation, I think Home is the most polished. It's set in Kosovo and tells the heart-wrenching tale of a woman who is denied her inheritance because she's unmarried, and she also happens to be gay. Now, you might need some cultural context to fully understand the plot of Home. Namely, you need to know about the state of women's rights in Kosovo. I'll drop a link to a super brief article in the description about gender inequality in Kosovo. That being said, Home is a melancholy film. It looks bleak and feels hopeless. You're meant to feel angry and beaten down because that's how these women feel every single day. Home is a bit of a punch in the heart, but it's easily the best film in the compilation. Between Us is the final film, and it's this super soapy short about a woman who's having an affair with a married woman. And like Bachelorette Party, it also could have been a mediocre Wattpad original. Overall, the compilation had more hits than misses, and I think the hits make the film worth watching. Between Me and You is currently available to stream on VOD.
'Cause I got time while she got freedom.
If you watched my first lesbian short films video, then you might remember Fast Hearts, a film that taught us all about the importance of picking up attractive hitchhikers. The Two of Us is a sequel to Fast Hearts, even though it's about different characters, in a different situation, and doesn't seem connected to the first movie whatsoever.
I'm tired of hiding.
What's wrong with this?
I just don't see how I could stay.
I'll be honest, Fast Hearts wasn't a masterpiece, but I liked it. It had this weird, pretentious charm, kind of like it was sucking its own. The Two of Us is just as pretty as Fast Hearts and has the same gorgeous setting, but it feels more like a West Elm ad than a compelling short film. There's not really a plot. It's just two beautiful women having sex, then staring angstily at each other, like you do. Still, it is pretty to look at. So if you want to watch something that's more of a feast for the eyes than that of the soul, you can check out The Two of Us on YouTube. Zaya is a 6-minute French short created with the expressed intention of promoting love and acceptance. It's about a young dancer who begins to have romantical-like feelings for her dance partner.
À quoi tu penses?
Quand je danse, c'est le seul moment où je pense plus à rien d'autre qu'être là, avec toi.
There's not a lot of substance to the film, although, to be fair, it's only 6 minutes long. And even though it's about Zaya's coming out, the real star of the film is the dancing. It's beautiful and sensual, and honestly, I would have been satisfied if they just danced for the entire 6 minutes. And even though Zaya's coming out was extremely Pollyanna-ish, I found it refreshing, if not aspirational. It's as if the film is saying, this is how coming out should be every single time, and maybe one day we'll live in a world where that will be the case. But in the meantime, you can live vicariously through Zaya's coming out on YouTube. In the Hollow is a film about a couple who are the victims of a hate crime while hiking the Appalachian Trail in the 1980s.
Claudia Brenner was with Rebecca that day last spring, and although she was hit 5 times, she managed to trek 4 miles for help. I'm going to ask Claudia to tell you what happened that day.
In the Hollow is considered a docufiction film, which means it includes elements of both documentary and narrative film. Basically, if you've ever watched an episode of America's Most Wanted, then you've watched docufiction before. The film has 2 concurrent storylines. The first takes place in the 80s, where we watch these 2 women in love go camping. The second is in the present day, where we watch the surviving woman revisit the same trail. Needless to say, In the Hollow is not a fun film to watch, which makes it difficult to recommend, but I absolutely still do, because as much progress as we've made, we still have a ways to go. In the Hollow is currently available to stream for free on Vimeo. If you're like most people, you've probably been waiting for a Keeping Up with the Kardashians Mad Max crossover.
Absolutely fucking not.
Well, you're in luck, because the Lotus Gun is exactly that.
You mad at me?
What do you think, Daph? I know guys like him. I know what they're about. He's tweaked out of his mind. Doesn't know what he's doing.
Guy seems cool.
Well, that's good, because I'm gonna kill him tomorrow.
The year is 2077, and society has collapsed. Nora and Daphne are a couple who wander the plains trying to survive in this post-apocalyptic world. One day, they cross paths with a stranger, and predictably, drug-crazed cult shenanigans ensue. The Lotus Gun might be the most ambitious short film I've ever watched, and the movie gets an A+ for effort. And look, I'm sure there were budgetary constraints they had to work within, but everyone in this film looks like they just stepped out of an Instagram ad and rubbed some dirt on their face. They also talk exactly like the Kardashians, which isn't necessarily bad, it's just weird. Like I said, they did a lot in this movie, and even though it wasn't quite my cup of tea, I respect that they really went for it. So if you have 25 minutes to kill, you can check out The Lotus Gun on YouTube.
I'm coming back like a hurricane.
If you've been subscribed to the channel for a while, you probably already know about the brilliant Geeli Pucchi. I reviewed it last year, and I'll link the video on the screen, so you can check it out if you want. But basically, Geeli Pucchi is the best lesbian short film I've ever watched.
हम कुछ गलत बोल दिए?
नहीं वो बस माँ का याद आ गया बस.
हम समझते हैं.
Geeli Pucchi, or Sloppy Kisses, is a 45-minute short from Ajib Distans, an anthology consisting of 4 different short films. Now, I can't vouch for the rest of Ajib Distans because I didn't watch it, but from what I've read, Geeli Pucchi is the standout of the entire anthology. Barty works as a machine man in a factory, while Priya is the factory's newest office worker. And although the women seem to have very little in common, they strike up a tentative friendship that soon becomes something more. If you're considering watching Geeli Pucchi, which you absolutely should, then I highly recommend you check out my review first, because in that video I provide a bunch of links to articles and videos about India's caste system, which you absolutely need to understand for the film to have the impact it's meant to have. Geeli Pucchi is the 3rd film in Ajib Distans. It starts around the hour and 5-minute mark. It is absolutely brilliant, and you can watch it on Netflix. That is it for the list. I want to give a quick shout out to my newest patrons, Claudia, Jose, Angie, Melissa, and JC.
Thank you for being a friend.
As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.